Hello everybody, just wanted to make a quick video here, and I'm in my workshop slash closet, um, but I just wanted to show this little cardboard boat that I have been working on for a little while now, and kind of some of my theories and my ideas on different hull design. As you can see, it's made out of cardboard. It was a Walmart box. Got tons of epoxy on it, so it's it's sturdy. But I do plan on skinning it with some fiberglass just to kind of fill in some of the unevenness. But I just wanted to talk about a few things, kind of go over what the design is that I made, and hopefully my theory is correct and it works out okay. I mean, I know typically a super deep V doesn't really work well for speed, and obviously more of the boat is down into the water, which means more resistance and so on and so forth. But this is kind of like what I've come up with so far. My little hats that I made out of some really thin cardboard actually came out pretty good. I'm gonna end up fiberglassing this as well, but here's the inside. I got like the stuffing tube and all that, and I'm gonna try to place my motor and everything as close back to the back as as far as possible. But yeah, so I got a strut and a little rudder on here. I'm not sure if I'm going to use this strut or not. There's not too much adjustability, but I had some pretty long turn fins and these trim tabs. But the thing which is interesting actually, I've been doing a lot of research on different hull designs, and I noticed, most fast deep V's or monos, they're quite a bit wider than this is. This boat, if I'm not mistaken, it's about, I want to say a little over 9 inches wide back here, and it's about 29 inches long. So it's not super narrow. Just the difference is obviously the angle of the V is a lot more, aggressive than most. And here's kind of my theory on this. If you want to look at the bottom. So, as you can see here, it's kind of a step. So, I purposely made this front section here much wider than the rear section here. And the reason for that is to kind of help get the thing on plane, since I don't have any strakes or anything to help lift the boat up out of the water. My theory is that the wider section here will help get the boat up first. And then as you get here, here's a bit of a step to kind of break some water tension, and then I have a large step here, and then it goes to a flat ride pad almost that widens out the further back it gets. And now the reason why I did this is because obviously with a super deep V like this, the boat's going to be sitting down in the water, and I'm hoping that this little step here will break some of the water tension and help get the boat moving. And then as you start getting on plane, the faster you go, the theory is that the boat's going to be riding here on this ride pad. And the reason why I did this is because I wanted to try to see, if I can get the boat to come up out of the water with as little of the hull as possible in the water. So obviously the least, amount of surface area you have touching the water, the less resistance you have and the faster you can go. But obviously this boat's not really going to be made for super high speed. I'm just doing this just kind of as a, experiment. And if it does work out well, then I may just build one straight out of fiberglass. I'm not sure. But I'm thinking also with these really long turn fins, as the boat's on plane, maybe it'll kind of help stabilizing, because I have a feeling that it may want to walk back and forth with a real deep V like it is. But yeah, so this is kind of just a theory. I'm learning a lot about hydrodynamics, and I feel it'd be something interesting to try, kind of like how a normal ship would be. As you see, I kind of got some plans going for another one that's going to be more of a mono style hull, a wide V. But yeah, so this is just kind of like something I've been playing around with. The boat actually is pretty light, even though it's got a decent amount of epoxy on it. But yeah, so like I say, this is all purpose. The reason why I did this, though, instead of just doing a regular mono hull, just, you know, try something different. You know, see what works, and if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. Oh well, I go back to the drawing board and try something different. But I just like, you know, messing around with different theories, and I like trying out new things. So I'm probably going to end up getting like a small little like 2960 or something for this boat. I want to try to keep it as light as possible, especially if I might be adding a little bit of fiberglass and, you know, some more epoxy to it. I want to try to keep it really light. But this is what I got so far, and I'm really hoping that this thing works out well. Like I said, the goal is not really to get tons of speed out of this, but it should do really well in super choppy water. Like, you know, like with the super deep V in the front like that, I should just be able to cut through water no problem. That's the goal. And then, like I said, towards the back with that ride pad, hopefully it'll help keep the boat up out of the water, and these should help from it walking super bad. But yeah, it's, you know, I'm just kind of showing my ideas and, you know, bouncing around some stuff. And like I say, if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. I go back to the drawing board and try something different. But I'm really kind of digging the way this hatch came out. And I was bored, and I took one of my or a couple of the little scoops off of this and kind of integrated it into my hatch. So obviously you're not going to see the paint or any of these grooves once I fiberglass all this. But yeah, it's totally different, and like I said, it's probably not going to go super fast, but it should work really well in choppy water, and then this thing should handle great. I should be able to take turns on a dime. Obviously, you know, you only got that thin section that's riding in the water. That's the goal. Hopefully, like, I should be able to bank this thing really hard in a corner, and it should just take it. There should be no skipping or slipping of the rear of the hull. And that seems to be an issue I've noticed on a lot of deep V's or monos, you know, is the rear kind of likes to skip about, unless you have your turn fins way down into the water. But even like my ProBoat Shockwave, you know, it's a deep V, it's a large, you know, 36-inch hull, and it's fiberglass, but the rear does like to skip. I mean, I feel like that has to do with where my strut positioning is as well. I mean, if you have the prop, I feel like sitting way out past where the rudder is, that causes problems as well. But with this one, I'm thinking if, you know, my prop's sitting here, rudder's here, it shouldn't try to skip in the rear too bad. It should stay down in the water, hug the corner, and you should be able to blast out of it as quickly as possible. So that's kind of my goal here. And, you know, if it doesn't work, you know, I got a few others. Like I said, I got my other little kind of a mono deep V design on this little cardboard boat, and it actually worked okay, believe it or not, and that was without a strut or anything. And the only problem I was having is because it is so deep, you know, it wants to ride way down in the water, and so I figured on this one I would make more of a ride pad instead of just, you know, leaving it a regular V. So yeah, this is just some of my theories, and I'm trying to bounce some ideas off of a couple people and gonna see what works. I was gonna use a bigger motor and ESC in this thing, but I feel like that's gonna be too much weight, and then it kind of leaves me a little less room for putting my battery and everything in the front. But yeah, this is kind of different, and I know I've never really seen a fast RC boat with this type of hull, so I'm hoping that it works out well. But I'll keep everybody updated and do some testing here hopefully soon. The boat, obviously, it's pretty watertight. I've already tried it in the water. It's sealed and it floats perfectly fine. Actually, it doesn't really sit down too far in the water, so I'm hoping that it works out well. Alright, see ya.